we're actually going to do some studies. So a lot of people say that ingredients are interchangeable and that you need to adjust. You can just go with the recipe on your hydration. I've always maintained that you need to actually learn to read your dough. And I'm going to show you today why reading your dough is so important on hydration. The recipes that we're going to use are exactly the same recipe. The only thing that has changed is the water that's in it, or the liquid, because I classify the water, oil and vinegar as a liquid, so it makes a weight. I never use cups, I always scale. So the one has got 110%, but you see how I actually build them and actually interpret that what my dough needs. So stick around and let's see what we're going to do. Hello. I've been away for a while, I think 2 months, and because I moved from Cape Town, where it is incredibly wet and damp in the winter, to Bathurst, where it's cold, but there is a lot less moisture in the air as such. And I've had to reformulate all my recipes. I mean, literally everything has actually not worked the way it's supposed to work, or the way it used to work. So I've decided that I'm going to do a series on changing one ingredient and run 2 loaves. So this time I'm actually going to do hydration, and as we go along we'll change one other ingredient as we progress through this. So this dough has got 330 grams of dry ingredients, flour, and so does this. So structurally and ingredient wise they're exactly the same. The difference is the fact that I've changed the hydration. Now this has 285 grams of liquid. Now my liquid includes my oil and my vinegar. I add vinegar into everything because it's antimicrobial and it extends the shelf life, so I don't have stuff going moldy. I always add water into things because I always add vinegar. No, I lie. I always add oil because I like what it does to the bread. So it's a case of we're going to knead these, and you can see there's a difference in the way this bread actually handles itself. It's not coming together as easily as it used to. So it's a case of it's going to take a lot more kneading, and I'm not going to add more liquid into it. My instinct is to add more liquid, but then I always say read your dough, see what your dough wants. So this one we are going to knead into a shape, and we are going to see what it does. This is not going to work for me. So after all that, so I'm going to see if I can splice this. So you can see this dough actually not as stuck together as I would like it. I'm going to park that dough there, and we're going to knead this one. Now this one has got 110% hydration. You can see it sticking to the counter, and it's much stickier than what it would. This one, I'm going to actually get some tapioca flour, and we're going to knead a bit of that into it. But if you look at the doughs just like this, you can see the difference in them, in the fact that this one is much more squishier and softer than this one. This one's actually quite hard. So I know for a fact that bread is not going to work to what I want, and this one is going to be a better one. But I haven't allowed any hydration, any absorption of the flours and the xanthan gum into this. So that's going to rest a little bit to get that sorted and resting itself. Whereas this one is not going to work. I'm going to sacrifice this to the bread gods, because it definitely, you need to see the difference in the bread and in that. So I'm going to wash my hands and get some tapioca flour, and I'll be back. Okay, so back. Now this has had a little bit of time to hydrate on there, and you can see this is just getting stiffer and stiffer as I go along with this one. Whereas this one is becoming less sticky and actually much more manageable. So this is why I always say you need to learn to read your dough. So you are not going to work, but I'm sacrificing you. So we are going to roll the way they tell us to roll it. This is not going to work, I know. But anyway, I need to show you. Let's see if a bit of kneading actually improves it. It's not going to improve the... You see, it's a very, very tight ball. It's sticking together that way very well. So we're going to just roll it, knead it a little bit more. And when I'm kneading, I'm always making sure that the seam is at the top so that it's actually rolling inside. Taking it from the bottom and literally just folding it over all the time. This is not going to rise at all because the dough is too tight. Not because I don't have enough yeast in it, but this one I think I'm going to add another 10 grams of water into it. But in the meantime, this one is going to need tapioca on the surface because it is more sticky. And we are just rolling it. You see, it's a much softer dough. It's a much more forgiving dough on this whole process. Now these are really small loaves of bread. They're only 600. So the same principle would apply. And the fact that this one has 100 hydration in it. You can see it's a much softer dough. It's going to give me a much nicer dough. I wonder if I take this one to 100% hydration. Shall we try that? So that means I have equal weight water, equal weight flour. So you're going to park there. I'm going to put some more water into this because I really don't want to sacrifice it when I can actually donate it to somebody to eat better. So we're going to add some more water into this. I'll be back. Right. Now, this one has 330 grams of flour in and 300 grams of liquid. I added more water into it. And you can see it's actually a much nicer dough than what it was. So this one is now what I would call a 90% hydration, whereas the other one was only an 80% hydration. My maths probably sucks, but you know what? It's the idea that makes it work. So again, I'm kneading it that I have this going. Always my seam is in the middle, and you can see it's already starting to tighten up on there. So it really does want the more water, liquid into it. Now this is not going to shape properly here. So shall we just make you a little prettier so that you shape nicely. So now, literally, this is going to rise, but not as well as this one. And you can see how this one has actually started to stiffen up on there. This one will start to stiffen up again on it. 44 grams of water extra in this one over this one. So now it's a case of wait and see and let it rise, and then we start again and see what it actually does. We will bake it and we will slice it, but we'll only slice it tomorrow. But I think just in the baking thing, you'd be able to see how the hydration actually works. I could have done another one in the actual fact that had some more water into it, some more liquid into it. But this will show you ideally what the difference of the hydration does. Next week, I'm actually going to do 2 different loaves, and I'm going to do one with tapioca starch and one with cornstarch to show you, because all they say they're interchangeable. Yes, they are. Everything is interchangeable, but it actually does change the ratios and it does change your flour. By actually showing you what it does differently, I think you can learn from that. So these are just going to rise, and because my kitchen is incredibly cold, it'll probably take quite a while. But we're going to watch it, and I will see you once it's risen. So see you later. So you can see, I mean, the dough, the bread looks different as it stands here. We're not going to cut it because it's a case of come back in 2 days' time. No, I lie. Come back when it's cold. This bread is straight out of the oven. It's very much too hot to cut. If we cut it, we're actually going to destroy the hydration. This is the one that had 110% liquids into it, and this is the one that only had 90% liquid into it. So already you can see the difference in them, that this one has actually given me a really nice burst. It's a much softer dough. This one is actually quite a hard dough. So I hope that helps you on your experimentation and your learning on how hydration affects your end product.